How's it going, guys? It's Eclipse here, and today we are checking out the 5 common mistakes that every single World of Tanks player has made in their course of their lifetime, I guess. We're going to try and keep you from making the same mistakes when you play World of Tanks, and if any of them are the ones that you make, then yeah, I'd probably change them. So, first things first, when everyone comes onto World of Tanks, they tend to look for a tank that, is one that they know of from history. Of course, most people see the Tiger 1. Now, what that leads to is everyone basically going towards the Tiger 1 to begin with, or at least a tank that they know about, something like maybe the M4 Sherman or something very, very similar, depending on what your favourite tank is, your tank knowledge before you play the game, and of course the most common ones being things like the Tiger 1, the Panther, and the variety of different tanks of World War II era actual tanks that were made. And what that leads to is people picking tank lines that aren't particularly very good for a new player, or even some of the more advanced players. I know that a lot of people go towards the Tiger 1 and they realise that actually the tank's not very forgiving. It has absolutely no armour, and yes, you can go towards the E100, but to be honest, I don't think this tank is a particularly great one for new players. I think that yes, you can use the angling mechanics within the game, but often it's not the best one I choose. So yeah, I think that making the mistake of actually picking the wrong tank to begin with, and in general most people tend to pick the actual wrong tank when they're going towards tier 10, and also that leads on to the next one within the game, and that is actually trying to get to tier 10 too fast. So what do I mean by this? Well, of course, when you play World of Tanks, you want to try to get as many tier 10s as possible in as short a time as possible. Well, or at least the majority of players do, whether or not that comes at the sacrifice of your gameplay, your statistics, or a variety of other things within the game. Now, for me personally, I have a ton of tier 10s within the game, and of course you can see them all here. But what does going towards tier 10 lead to? Well, often what you see is a lot of new players grind their way to tier 10 very quickly, or they get a premium tier 10, or they do something of a similar nature. They get to tier 10 within 1,000 games maybe, and they don't actually know how to play the game. You've got this problem where, yes, you may have got a tier 10, but you have no idea how to play the game because you've just ground there too quickly. Leads to things like you don't have enough silver to be able to put equipment on your tank, putting you at a seriously poor situation when you come into the matchmaker against players that, like myself, have 3 equipment on every single tank that I own, with premium consumables, premium ammo, and I know about the game. So you're going to be at a significant disadvantage. For my kind of avoiding that kind of topic or that common mistake, to be honest, I would stick around tier 6, learn the game a little bit more, play a couple of different tanks that are competitive at the tier, and of course a lot of the Russian mediums at this tier, the T-34 85, really good tank at this tier. Things like the Cromwell are quite good to actually learn the game, learn that yes, you may have high alpha in some of the tanks within the game like the KV2, but if you play a tank like the Cromwell, you learn to trade, you learn when to push, when to remove from the flank, and a variety of different things. And I think the Cromwell is kind of one of those that I definitely enjoyed when I played. I think that necessarily going straight towards it isn't something I do, but maybe as like a second or third tier 6 that you pick up to just get yourself involved with some of the medium tank gameplay within World of Tanks, and I think that is something I would 100% recommend to all of you who decide to play World of Tanks. As far as some other common mistakes I find is coming back into the tier 10 thing. Well, people don't put equipment on their tanks because the silver cost is too much. But what happens when you play a tank without equipment? Well, let's face it, you are strictly just worse than every single other player that you come up against. Yes, they're expensive. Yes, it can cost you 400,000 silver. But if you have a premium tank within the game, if you have a tier 8 tank that you can earn some money, if you have managed to get to season rank 100 to pick up the MOBAT this season as of the recording of this video, which is the Cold War premium tank, which allows you to earn an absolute bucket load of credits, then yeah, you should be doing that. You should be using those tanks. You should grind out a couple million silver. So when you're grinding through the tank lines that you have to do within the game to get to tier 10, then it's not too much of a kind of pressure for you to be able to grind out silver, and that where you're having to choose between an upgrade or a piece of equipment. That is something that you have to think about. And whether or not you spend money on a premium tank, whether or not you just want to purchase the season pass to be able to get plenty of free premium tanks. So I say free, but you do have to pay 2,000 gold in the beginning, but you do make your gold back, and also you get key cards which give you more gold and the chance of getting premium tanks, as well as getting commanders and stuff like that. So I think that picking the season pass is something you have to do within the game if you want to actually play it for any length of time, and it is the most value for money thing within the game. So definitely purchase the season pass if you haven't already, or at least maybe not now because there's only 10 days remaining of the season, but if you are playing the game and it's a fairly beginning of the season to the point where you'll be able to reach rank 100, get your gold back, get a premium tank, get some silver back, get times 2 XP boosters, get premium time. It's all very much worth it, in my opinion, or at least let me know in the comment section down below if you would have changed that at all. And then coming on to the final kind of tip within the game, or at least the common mistake that you want to try avoid, is thinking you're going to be able to compete with some of the best players in the game straight off the bat. Let's face it, most people, when they play a game, they want to be the best player in the game. And yes, you may be able to have a good game every now and again when you're a new player, but you're not going to be able to consistently come in the top of your team, at least unless you're spectacular at the game and you've managed to pick it up super quickly. But for the most part, even myself, I'm boasting a 61% win rate overall, which is, don't get me wrong, fairly decent, but yeah, you aren't going to expect that within 1,000 games. You're certainly probably not going to expect that within 10,000 games. And for the most part, some people will never, ever reach 60% win rate. And so, yeah, thinking that you're overnight going to suddenly get better if you're going to watch a YouTube video and suddenly you're going to be the best player in the game, that is just not the case. There is no tactic to be able to just suddenly get to 60% win rate, to get to 70% win rate, to be able to have W8 values of 5,000 overall. That just doesn't happen. It comes with map knowledge, map strategy, World of Tanks knowledge with regards to the weak spots of various different tanks. All of that combined comes from just playing the game. Don't take it too seriously, and I think that that's where a lot of people go wrong. They think, I've got to make sure that I'm being super competitive, I need to be the best in the game, I need to get better. To be honest, just chill out. Just play the game, enjoy it. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. Don't be thinking that you have to be playing the game to the best of your ability every single time. I come on sometimes and all I want to do is just play some casual games. I don't want to have to try hard or particularly, grind out loads of games where I'm trying to get my third mark. Sometimes I literally just want to come on and play a couple of games, maybe play something like the Scorpion G where I don't have to really think about much because it's just that broken. But yeah, that is something I want to make sure that you guys understand, and that, yeah, you don't take too much seriously. Don't, think about those things too much and just play the game. I think that that's something people go wrong, and that basically leads to burnout. People stop playing, and when you're trying to get better at a game and you stop playing the game, then of course it's not going to be good for you. Other than that, I think that they are all of my common mistakes. Of course, if you have any common mistakes, maybe we'll make a part 2 to this video in the future, and of course I will take your comments into consideration for that video. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much to all of the channel members for supporting that channel. Just a little bit extra unbelievable support from you guys, and we're approaching now 6,000 subscribers. I think we're at 5,900. Just been massive growth within the last 8 months since I've been doing this World of Tanks console content, or at least daily. Of course, my channel is quite old in terms of some of the older videos. If you want to check out any videos on the channel, there are tons of them, and so yeah, hopefully they can teach you a thing or two if you want to get better at World of Tanks, and they're kind of available for all versions of World of Tanks, some of the strategic stuff at least. Thank you very much once again, and I hope to see you in the next video. Goodbye.